All right, Shalom. I'm going to begin this lesson by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Wahar, Rakar, Quadash, which in the ancient Hebrew tongue would be the correct names of the Heavenly Father, His beloved Son, and the Holy Spirit. I also would like to give double honors to my teachers, the head apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Much due honors and respect to the sincere brethren out there that's also laboring in His work. And as always, I want to say Shalom to the believers. You know, the Akim as well as the Akwath, which will be brothers, along with the sisters that subscribe to this truth as well. So yeah, just wanted to go into another quick lesson, which this sitting right here is going to be centered around the fate of the whore, okay, the judgment of the whore, America, Babylon the Great, which is a prophecy illustrated within parables, okay? And there's a method to why the prophecies or the things concerning, the things to come is shrouded in mystery and secret because it wasn't given to the masses of the people, only those who have eyes to see, which would be the prophets. The prophecies was given to the prophets. Matter of fact, let me start off real quick right here in the book of Amos, the 3rd chapter, in the 7th verse. It says, surely the Lord power will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants, the prophets. But he revealeth his secret unto his servants, the prophets. And why would the secrets of the Lord be given over to the prophets? Because those secrets would be the prophecies, which have to be prophesied, and that feat can't be accomplished except by way of a prophet. So again, the prophecies are not as of an open and shut case as one might think. No, the prophecies are shrouded in secrecy. They're found within parables, man, and given over to the prophets, those who have eyes to see, the seers. And those prophecies are conveyed to the believers who believe on that report. And that's pretty much the overtone of the testimony of our Lord Yahweh Shah. Matter of fact, let's prove that before we continue. It's the book of Matthew, the 10th chapter, in the 27th verse. And this is our Lord Yahweh Shah speaking. It says, what I tell you in darkness, see, what I tell you in darkness, which we just read in Amos, the 3rd chapter, how the secrets of the Lord was given over to the prophets. See? And those secrets are pretty much shrouded in mystery and darkness. So what we read here is our Lord Yahweh Shah echoing that same sentiment, proving that when even reading the Old Testament and the things concerning prophecy, it actually falls under the banner of the testimony of our Lord Yahweh Shah. See, again, what I tell you in darkness, that speak ye in light, and that's concerning the internet, which, by the way, the internet is biblical, man, and in particular the YouTube, which was the vehicle, if you will, that the Lord chose to push forth this word globally, thus fulfilling the prophecy spoken of in the book of Matthew, the 24th chapter, where this gospel shall be preached throughout the world, then the end shall come. See? Again, what I tell you in darkness, that speak ye in light, and what ye hear in the ear, see, in secrecy, and what ye hear in the ear, that preach ye upon the housetops. And again, those housetops are symbolic to the internet. But the scriptures say what ye hear in the ear or in secrecy, right? That preach, that word preach translates to prophesy upon the housetops. See? Proving that the prophecies would be given to the prophets, but those prophecies would be shrouded in secrecy and mystery. Those prophecies would be found within parables. And I wanted to touch on one of those parables concerning the whore, all right? Which this whore and the maturation of this whore will eventually morph into a witch, man, okay? And that transition would be motivated by desperation. And you're going to see where it plays and ties into everything that you see taking place today, the current events, the Crown 19, this term warp speed being thrown around in effort to distribute, vaccines. And you're going to ultimately see the word mandatory being associated with it, man. There's nothing more than the desperation of the whore, which will prompt her to a transition into the witch, meaning she will eventually lean on her sorcery and witchcraft, all right? Which brings me right here to the book of Revelation, the 18th chapter, and starting at the 20th verse, it says, rejoice over her, thou heaven and ye holy apostles and prophets, for the Most High have avenged you on her. And that's the time we're in. We're in a time where the Lord has now begun to replace that sorrow and mourning, if you will, with mirth and joy and rejoicing. Why? Because he's finally avenged us concerning the hurtful works of the whore, America, the so-called white man. Now, are these judgments physically manifested? No, but the Lord, through prophecy, have given us foresight concerning the destiny of the so-called white man. And in that, we are to rejoice. Matter of fact, let me grab some real quick before we continue. This is the book of Revelation, the 17th chapter, in the first verse. It says, and there came one of the seven angels, which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore. See? Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore. And that's what we possess, the ability to foresee the judgment of America. And that's a luxury that our people don't have. That's why they constantly banging their head against the wall, looking for results in the form of marching and protesting, you know, for some form of relief. But we have been given sight, eyes to see, you know, the judgment of America. Again, come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, and that will be America. So we have been comforted by being shown the judgment of the great whore, which is ultimately going to come by way of World War III and that violent overthrow that the Lord has prepared concerning, you know, the removal of this current system and the takedown of the so-called white man. See that? So when you go back here again to Revelation, the 18th chapter, starting at the 20th verse, rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye holy apostles and prophets, for the Most High have avenged you on her. And a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea, saying, thus with violence, see, thus with violence shall that great city, America, Babylon, be thrown down, and shall be found no more at all. And the voice of harpers and musicians and of pipers and trumpeters shall be heard no more at all in thee, and no craftsman, or whatsoever craft he be, shall be found any more in thee, and the sound of the millstone shall be heard no more at all in thee, and the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in thee, and the voice of the bridegroom and of the bride shall be heard no more at all in thee. For thy merchants were the great men of the earth, for by thy sorceries were all nations deceived. Now, real quick, let's click on this word sorcery.
Strong's G 5331. Pharmakeia.
Yeah, so that would be the pronunciation in the Greek for that word sorcery, pharmakeia, which that word actually goes back to pharmacy or pharmaceuticals. All right? It says the use or the administering of drugs, poisoning. See? Poisoning. Now, when you go down here to the Strong's definitions, it says medication, pharmacy, i.e., you know, by extension, magic, literally or figuratively, sorcery, witchcraft. See, that's sorcery, witchcraft. So it's no coincidence that right now you see these devils pretty much attempting to poison you. You know, to stick a damn needle in you, man, to give you some vaccine, to poison you. That's a form of the sorcery and the witchcraft or the whore. See? So we're in a time where the whore is transitioning into the witch. And that's pretty much a form of rebellion right there. Because as the so-called white man and his kingdom become more and more apparently compromised, you can see where this man is losing his grip on power. He's resisting. He's fighting back, you know? And according to prophecy, one of his methods of resisting or rebelling would be through his sorcery and witchcraft. See? And that's found also right here in the book of First Samuel, the 15th chapter, in the 23rd verse. It says, for rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft. See? So the so-called white man has now begun to rebel, to resist the prophecies in the form of his witchcraft. All right. Again, this is why you see this man in his attempt to, regain momentum, if you will, concerning his power by way of sorcery, man. This man has resorted to, the people being Maxine, being under the influence. See that? But that's a form of the so-called white man rebelling. Why? Because he know that he had but a short time. Rulership is at stake, man. Desperate times calls for desperate measures. So this man is naturally going to revert to his instincts. See? Which again is sorcery. All right? Again, it says for rebellion, which that word rebellion means to go back to war. All right? So this is how this man is warring against Yahweh Shah. This is his feeble attempt to somehow offset the prophecies. See? He's rebelling against the prophecies by way of his sorcery and witchcraft. Again, it says, for rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry, because thou hast rejected the word of the Lord. He have also rejected thee from being king. See that? So now we're in a time where the Lord is removing Esau, the so-called white man, from being rulers, from being king. All right? And the reason why we know that, because this man will eventually rebel against it. And the form of his rebellion is through his witchcraft. See that? So again, the whore is now showing herself to be a witch. That's the chronological order, if you will. Out of desperation, this devil will try to lean on his sorcery and his witchcraft in effort to retain, his power. All right? But there's a penalty for being a witch. There's a penalty for your sorcery. And that's pretty much for you to be destroyed. All right? Matter of fact, let me grab that real quick. Right here in the book of Exodus, the 22nd chapter, in the 18th verse. It says, thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. See, thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. So there's a penalty for being a witch or coming under the guise of a witch, practicing witchcraft, which, by the way, what we read right here is in the law. And this proves that the law is still in effect. Why? Because Esau, he took to himself the law. This man claimed to be the chosen people of the Most High. You got these gutter rats in our land. They took the law, statutes, and commandments unto themselves. You have to swear on the Bible. These inaugurations, they swear in these presidents on the Bible. When you read Psalms, the 50th chapter, it tells you how they cast the words of the Lord behind them. So in order for you to cast anything or throw anything, one must first possess it. So this is how the Lord chose to snare you devils, man, by applying the law to judge you. Again, it says, thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. And this witch actually translates to the whore. All right? And that can be proven right here in the book of Nahum, the 3rd chapter, in the 4th verse. It says, because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot. Yeah, again, it says, because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot. Yeah, and this whore, or this harlot that we read here in the book of Nahum, the 3rd chapter, is actually the same whore or harlot that we read in Revelation, the 17th and 18th chapter, which will be America. Again, because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, the mistress of witchcrafts. See? The mistress of witchcrafts. So you can see where the word witchcraft is in the same breath with whoredom, meaning the whore will be interchangeable with the witch. See? It says that selleth nations through her whoredoms and families through her witchcraft. So what you're witnessing is the rebellion of the whore being climaxed, or on display, if you will, through her witchcraft, man. And again, rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft. So this man is rebelling. He's resisting prophecy, or attempting to, which, pursuing the biblical prophecy in the book of 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter, the Lord will consume this man with the spirit of his mouth, meaning the prophets, before ultimately destroying this man with the brightness of his coming, man. So it's prophesied that the devil will be identified and targeted. What you're witnessing is nothing more than a witch hunt. The hunter has now become the hunted. And pursuant to the law, once that witch is identified and targeted, then by no means should that which be suffered to live, meaning the utter and complete desolation and destruction of this place, America, Babylon the Great. So y'all just want to touch on that. Lord willing, it was edifying. Till the next time I say shalom.